Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
We want to make sure that we have our situation under control, that we don't compromise the village of Rockton.
Firefighters are still on the scene of the massive Chemtool fire in Rockton. Investigators share what they're doing to limit the impact the blaze has on the environment. Debris from the chemical plant is still scattered across parts of Winnebago County. Local health officials explain how to safely get rid of the fragments. And some families spend the night at Roscoe Middle School. Residents hope they'll be able to go home soon. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Firefighters are still battling the Chemtool fire in Rockton, nearly 36 hours after it started. Officials say the 1-mile evacuation order will remain in effect for at least one more night. Rockton Fire Chief Kirk Wilson says first responders have made significant progress on the flames. An industrial firefighting crew from Louisiana is on scene. They're putting foam on the flames. Before that, the crew dug trenches along the west side of Chemtool. That's to block any chemical runoff that heads towards the Rock River.
There are absorbent booms that are being placed in the river just in case there is any product relief. This is strictly for precautionary measures, but we want to make sure all that is in place before we actually start to do the actual firefight.
2 firefighters suffered minor injuries. Investigators are still trying to figure out what sparked the flames. The Illinois EPA has referred Chemtool to the state's attorney general for violating the Illinois Environmental Protection Act. It's for allowing pollution to be released into the atmosphere. More violations could be added on. The referral asked the attorney general to pursue legal action and require Chemtool to estimate what air contaminants were emitted as a result of the fire. The company will also be asked to create a plan to remove any hazardous materials from the site and prevent future disasters. One of the explosions at the plant yesterday shot debris miles away. Residents have been wondering how to dispose of the rubble. Ari Bruckman is live in Roscoe, and Ari, a Rockton resident, tells you not knowing what the fragments are is concerning.
Yeah, that's right, Mimi. State line area members are now dealing with the aftermath of the Chemtool fire. I spoke with one resident who tells me this whole situation has been crazy.
When I first realized that this was a chemical fire, one of the things that was concerning was that there would be possible explosions. What exactly were these chemicals, and if these were fumes that would potentially be dangerous for us.
People living near the Rockton Chemtool plant to those living miles away are finding debris from Monday's fire. Some pieces are small, others the size of laptops. David Trevino tells me it was alarming just looking up at the sky.
It was a little scary just because not knowing exactly what the big effect would be. Again, if there was any explosions, we noticed the debris was falling all throughout the yard, all throughout the neighborhood. We wanted to make sure that, obviously the lawn, the yard wouldn't catch on fire.
Winnebago County Public Health Administrator Dr. Sandra Martell advises people not to touch the debris, but you should throw it away.
We don't know what the material is. It could be packing material. It could be, bits and pieces of drums and things like that. It's safer to not touch the material, rake it up, use a shovel, put on gloves, put it in garbage that's separated, and we will then advise you how to dispose of that waste.
Trevino believes the debris in his yard is concerning, but there are other questions at the forefront of his mind.
We're just hoping that there is no after effects. There are no safety issues in the future as well, whether it be just breathing in these possible fumes that are on the ground level.
If you have questions regarding how you should move forward from the fire, the Winnebago County Health Department has set up an email address and hotline. That information is on your screen now. Mimi?
Ari, thanks for that live report. Lubrizol, which owns Chemtool, gives an update on what it's doing to help the community recover from the disaster. The company says it will pay employees at the chemical plant. Benefits will still be provided for affected workers. Lubrizol tells us it's also providing counseling for anyone who needs it. The company's vice president came to Rockton today and apologized to the community.
We're here to support the community. We're going to do everything we can to do the right thing and support not only Chief Wilson and all the other resources in terms of addressing the fire and effecting the right emergency response, but also in supporting the community in the aftermath of the cleanup.
Lubrizol says it's also made donations to the Northwestern Illinois Red Cross and the Northern Illinois Food Bank. Many families within a mile of Chemtool had to evacuate. Rachel Perry caught up with a family who stayed in their home. And Rachel, the husband and wife say it's a good thing they did.
That's right, Mimi. A Rockton couple made the choice to not evacuate during the fire. They tell me that choice may have saved their home.
We're just thankful that we're here and that our house didn't burn.
Katie and Blair live nearly a half-mile from the Chemtool facility. Some tall trees and an empty field are all that sit between their home and the plant.
We could even hear the fire, the crackling. And when we came out, you could, if we stood out here, anywhere out close to here, you could feel the heat from the flames.
The couple tells me their safety concerns became reality. The fire got bigger and closer.
And I said, honey, I think the field's on fire. And he said, no, I'm sure it's not. And I said, no, you need to get up and look. And before you knew it, our field was on fire. And it came through the easement. And it was, I don't know how many yards to the house.
Blair called 911 and the fire was quickly put out.
Brush fire guys were up by the water tower. I ran up there and got them, and they come back and cut a hole in the fence and then come in with the brush trucks and put out this fire. Then they brought in some heavy equipment and cut fire breaks.
All but one other family evacuated their block. Now the couple wonders what could have happened if they had left too.
Because we're the ones that's caught the fire in the field.
We even had the hoses out and with the water already turned on and ready to spray if needed.
I was there with the couple as the wind had shifted away from their home. Katie and Blair say they want to thank the fire department and all those helping the people in need. Mimi?
Well, thanks, Rachel, for that story. Winnebago County issues a disaster declaration because of the Chemtool fire. It was announced by Board Chairman Joe Chiarelli. The director of the Winnebago County Emergency Management Agency recommended the declaration be put in place. It will expire June 21st, but it can be extended if necessary. Evacuated families could find refuge at Roscoe Middle School. Some people had to stay there overnight as officials test the air to make sure the area is safe. Michelle Rave is at the middle school now. And Michelle, some people barely had time to grab necessities before leaving home.
That's right, Mimi. Many Rockton residents had to leave their home in such a rush and now say they want to return home to get some essential items. But firefighters say it could take several days for them to return home safely.
When you hear that the chemical factory that is in your backyard is on fire, you're not quite sure if it's going to explode. So there was really no time to think at that moment. It was just get out of the house.
Stephanie McGuire and her family rushed out of their Rockton home Monday morning.
We saw large ash falling from the sky. And at that point, we decided that we probably should leave town, and we headed down to Rockford, where my mom lives. The only thing that we grabbed was our dog. And so we have no technology, we have no medicine, we have none of the daily essentials that we need.
While some were able to find shelter with family or friends, others relied on the evacuation center at Roscoe Middle School.
And you spent the night here, right?
A little uncomfortable.
Patrick Mira Contreras and his brother were among those who stayed the night.
Most of my family's very far away, so don't really have much of a social net to rely on. So I'm just going to stay here.
Both McGuire and Contreras tell me they need to get back home to pick up important medicine. But the Winnebago County Health Department says that's not an option.
We're calling it a hot zone for a reason, because we don't know how safe it is to return. We dealt with individuals who needed medications last night. We take care of that within the shelter itself.
For now, both families are just looking forward to the day they can safely return home.
If you don't have a place, or if it's going to affect your financial situation, don't be afraid to ask for help.
You know, my husband and I we know that we won't be able to come back into the house and stay, which is okay. We're okay with that. We just want the fire to get contained.
Officials say Roscoe Middle School will remain open until it's safe for residents to go back to their homes. For now, reporting live in Roscoe, I'm Michelle Rave.
Michelle, thanks for that live report. Meanwhile, organizers for a Rockton Music Festival say the event is still scheduled to start this weekend. Rockton Lions Club tells us Old Settlers Days will go on as planned. The 4-day event starts Thursday. Rockton's mayor says they're going to make sure the event is safe for everyone involved. The village's fire chief says the festival's schedule is a fluid situation.
We're going to continue our efforts. We'll monitor everything as we go throughout the day. However, it could change. So right now things are kind of up in the air, but as the mayor said, for right now it's still a go.
Old Settlers Days was canceled last year because of COVID. The latest Illinois clean energy bill that could have saved the Byron nuclear plant is dead. Coming up, lawmakers explain what killed the legislation.
The conditions are pretty comfortable out there today compared to what we saw most of last week. But 90s do return to the state line before long, and comes with it a chance for some rain and some thunderstorms. All the latest coming up in your forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Sports Director Scott Leber, and Meteorologist Kevin Doom.
The Illinois Senate returned to Springfield to vote on a highly anticipated clean energy deal, but instead it fell apart. The biggest coal plant in Illinois wanted to stay open beyond 2035. The original energy bill would have made the state coal-free by 2035. This morning, the governor's office extended the life of the Prairie State and CWLP coal plants to 2045. It's under the condition they can capture and bury carbon gases deep underground. Reports say that's when natural gas companies started making similar demands. Green energy groups are growing frustrated with the gridlock.
It would be deeply disappointing if we can't get this done this week. There is so much support outside this building and so much urgency around it for communities that are facing the loss of coal plants and need to plan for something that comes after that.
A last-ditch effort to pass a skinny deal also fell apart. That would have allowed for the Byron and Dresden nuclear plants to remain open. The Illinois House is expected to consider its own clean energy bill tomorrow. The company helping Rockford find new police and fire chiefs updates aldermen on its progress. IO Solutions says 11 applications for police chief and 5 for fire chief have been completed. Only one candidate has come from within the city's departments. IO expects that number to climb as the July 1st deadline approaches. The company's president tells us they're in the process of creating an assessment center. Applicants will then be put through testing and a series of simulations.
What we're looking to do is establish a composite of individuals who are the best qualified, ones from cities who best mirror Rockford in terms of size and demography, and then are looking for a diverse group of assessors as well. We're establishing typically 2 or 3 person panels to rate multiple exercises.
IO Solutions hopes to have recommendations in place by mid-August. A mix of sun and clouds helped our highs reach into the 80s. When we come back, Kevin tells us when we could get some much needed rain. As we go to break, here's a look at the closing numbers on Wall Street.
Now your first warm weather forecast with meteorologist Kevin Doom.
Well, for most of our Tuesday, we saw a good mix of cloud cover and blue sky up there. Excuse me. Now, most of the area is still seeing just some partly cloudy skies as we head on into the evening hours. But we do have a system of high pressure situated just up to our north. Now, as it starts to inch southward, we're going to start to see some drier air fed into the state line, and that is going to really help clear out a lot of our cloud cover as we head on through the rest of the evening. So by later on this evening, we are expecting some clear skies here in the state line, and skies are going to remain clear then through the overnight and even into tomorrow. Things are going to be a little bit cooler once again with wind still coming out of the north, but the drier air is going to keep on flowing in, and that is going to keep skies nice and clear through the entirety of our Wednesdays. We're not expecting any rain, just lots of sunshine for tomorrow. Now, a few more clouds, though, will be moving in by Thursday afternoon out ahead of a storm system that is going to bring us our next chance for some thunderstorms. So these thunderstorms are likely going to hold off into the latter part of Thursday evening. They're going to be arriving from the northwest, and then they're likely going to stick with us through the latter part of the evening and into the overnight hours and even into the early morning hours of Friday, with possibly even a few showers and thunderstorms trailing behind the bulk of the system and falling through the day on Friday. Now, some of these storms have the potential to be on the stronger side, maybe even closer to severe storms, and that is for two big reasons. That is because right now there is a storm system situated well off to our west that's tied to the storms that we will be getting later on this week. But this system of high pressure that we talked about is sort of keeping away all the moisture associated with that storm system. But as that system of high pressure moves off to our east late Wednesday and into Thursday, we're going to get a lot of moisture quickly pulled into the area, and that is going to act as sort of the fuel for these thunderstorms. And then another big reason is as temperatures really start to heat up again for Thursday and for Friday, likely going to see highs in the 90s. The atmosphere is going to become really unstable. That's going to allow the warm and moist air to lift itself into the atmosphere and create these thunderstorms. And on top of these two reasons, we also have a pretty strong cold front that's going to be situated just up to our northwest. It's going to help to lift some of that air up into the atmosphere and really fire up some potentially stronger thunderstorms. Now, of course, this is still a few days out, so this is something that we'll keep a closer eye on as we head on into Thursday. And then the atmosphere is going to remain fairly unstable as we head on into Friday, which could possibly cause a few thunderstorms to pop up through the day as well on Friday. Now, here's a live look over downtown Rockford using a Mercy Health Skytrack. Still seeing a decent amount of clouds overhead, but as I mentioned, those should be clearing away here before long as that drier air starts to do its thing. Now, temperatures are down in the 70s and lower 80s across the area, just a little bit from earlier today when we topped off in the lower to middle 80s. 80s the current temperature in Rockford, 81 in Janesville, 79 in Freeport, and 81 currently down in Dixon. Now, later on tonight, temperatures will eventually be dropping all the way into the low 50s. The clear skies and the northerly winds are going to work together to help cool us off quite a bit through the night tonight and into early tomorrow morning, but we are back in the low to mid 80s tomorrow. As I mentioned, lots of sunshine and no rain in the forecast for our Wednesday. And the 90s are likely again for Thursday and for Friday, with that storm system coming on through late Thursday and possibly stretching in through the day on Friday. Lots of sunshine for Saturday as that cold front is going to cool us back down into the 80s for the weekend. We end the weekend with another chance for rain late Sunday, stretching on into Monday.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Scott's in next with sports. What are the chances of Justin Fields beating out Andy Dalton for the Bears' starting quarterback job this summer? Matt Nagy will give us the answer.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
If you're a Bears fan and you're hoping Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback when the season opens, don't count on it. Matt Nagy told the media during the start of Bears minicamp today that there is no chance of Fields winning the starting quarterback job this summer over Andy Dalton.
Whether it's clarification that he can't win it, yes, correct. Andy Dalton is our starter. We all get excited about Justin Fields. You know, we'd all be lying if we said something different. But that said, we're excited about Andy Dalton too. And we know that if we stick to this plan that we have, that everything's going to be just fine. Andy Dalton is our starter. Justin's our number 2, and Nick's our number 3. And we're gonna play that out.
Well, most of the starters on defense did report for minicamp, unlike OTAs. One exception, though, is Eddie Goldman. He did not report, but Nagy says he expects Goldman to be at training camp next month. Nick Madrigal is done for the rest of the season for the White Sox. He had surgery today for tendon tears in his right hamstring. He's expected to be ready to go next spring. Tonight, the White Sox will host the Rays again. Dallas Keuchel will pitch. The Cubs are just underway in New York against the Mets. Alec Mills got the start for the Cubs. There is a chance we could see James Harden on the court tonight for the Nets when they host the Bucks in their playoff series. Harden said earlier today he's hopeful he can play on his bad hamstring. He'll test it out during pregame warmups. Harden hasn't played since the opening seconds of Game 1 of this series. The series is currently tied at 2 games each. Rock Valley College softball pitcher Ashton Milos is not only the best junior college D3 pitcher in the Midwest, she's the best in the nation. She's been named the National Pitcher of the Year by the NJCAA. Milos posted a record of 19-3 this season. She led the Golden Eagles to the national championship. The Hononegah grad took the circle for 3 games in the national tournament. She allowed only 2 earned runs. The IHSA is fully embracing girls wrestling. For the first time next February, it will hold a girls wrestling state tournament. It'll be taking place in Bloomington at the Grossinger Motor Sports Arena. That's the same arena where the boys team state championships are held. There will be champions crowned in 14 weight classes. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Let's have a look at our first one, interactive radar, sponsored by Rockford Auto Glass and More. No rain in the area, not expecting any rain for at least a couple of days here. And with some drier air working its way in from the north, we're going to see a lot of the cloud cover that we see overhead clear out here over the next few hours. That's going to leave skies nice and clear through the night tonight. It's going to mean a cooler night too. Temperature is going to be dropping to the low 50s for lows, and we are back in the lower to middle 80s for tomorrow. Those clear skies, at least mostly clear skies, are going to stick with us through our Wednesday, and so that means no rain expected for our Wednesday. It's going to be comfortably warm with temperatures, as I mentioned, back in the 80s. We were back in the 90s for Thursday and Friday, most likely with a storm system that's going to be moving in late Thursday evening, sticking around through the overnight and into Friday, which is going to bring us the likelihood for some showers and probably even some thunderstorms. Some of those thunderstorms could potentially be on the stronger side. We'll keep a close eye on that as we get closer to Thursday. But that cold front moving on through, that's going to bring us those storms. It's going to cool things back down into the 80s for the weekend. Lots of sunshine with no rain expected for Saturday. Another chance of rain as we head into late Sunday.
Hopefully we'll actually get some of that rain. Thanks, Kevin, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again at 10.